I was there. I don't have to listen to it.
This week's show because it was a disaster.
When you live in a beach resort, it's easy to forget whether you are playing or working. On each week's show, we settle in with a cocktail and try to figure out if there is a difference. This is Day Drinking on Delmarva.
I am Todd from GoodCleanFunLife.com.
And I'm Tony Russo, no relation, and you're listening to Day Drinking on Delmarva, a podcast about life and culture on the Delmarva Peninsula, where Todd, producer extraordinaire, and Tony extraordinaire, get their therapy for the week. We called it marketing therapy, but I don't know if that's true. I feel like it is.
It's more than that.
It's more like freelancer therapy or independent creator therapy. All right. And we're rewriting the show. We're rewriting the intro right now, and you get to hear it. It's like, I remember the first time I saw a Doctor Who at random, back when they used to be on at random in the middle of the night. And it was the first time I ever saw the Doctors change. And it was just like the coolest thing in the world to me, because I'd been watching it for years. And if you didn't watch it on PBS, you may not know that they didn't even put them on in order. It was just whatever came to hand that day they would put on. And so I got to see when the guy with the scarf turned into the guy with the question marks, I think, or the guy with the the guy with the crazy white hair turned into the guy with the scarf. And that was like a super cool thing. And I'm like, I remember seeing that show. So you remember when Tony changed the intro for the umpteenth time. Congratulations.
That hits on the nail of things a little bit better, right? I feel like we can actually provide something, and also it still goes along with day drinking, because we're day drinkers. We're able to day drink because we are independent freelance creators.
Independent creatives. We'll start with that for now. I forgot. I didn't write it down. I'll have to listen back.
and we're able to drink because we are, and then we also have to drink because we are.
Yes.
Yes. I love it.
And along those lines, we're going to jump right in. This is 10 minutes of preparation, and I feel bad for you guys because it's going to be hard to keep this under an hour. But we're going to succeed, because one of the reasons that we're not day drinking is we both have things in the afternoon now. That's the other part. We used to meet at a bar and drink during the show, and now I've got grandkids and Todd's got a side gig, and neither one of us can day drink unless we plan it in advance. But each week we have a sponsor. That sponsor is a local business that we like, and this week it is Todd. I don't even know how far I want to go with that.
It is the marketing guru. Oh man, you'd love that. Marketing person for GCFL for the past 15 years. Before the show, we were talking about the side gig that I've started, and I will get to that. May have even mentioned it before, but something came up this week, and it helped me bring in the focus something about marketing that we've been dealing with over the past year. As there's just so much stuff, and especially in the restaurant industry space, which I have been a big part of for a long time, restaurant adjacent with the marketing and media production, and of course websites as well. But I had a friend, and he's a friend. He had moved away, but he sent me a text out of the blue to me and a couple of friends, and he sent a link for essentially asking for money for his cause. Now, he's been a volleyball coach at the collegiate level, and a very good one for a number of years. He was at Salisbury, but his program, he's now in Connecticut, is in need of some funding. So he reached out to his friends to see if they would donate something. And, this is somebody that I've had a long relationship with. We've fallen out of touch a little bit, but he calls, and I have no problem being like, yep, click the link, donate 20, 50 bucks. Your program, I know you're dedicated to it. I know you're a good person. all of these things, no problem. Right. And it just came into focus for me because so many accounts for restaurants and businesses out there have this like promotion first mentality. It's like, hey, it's Taco Tuesday. Come in and have our tacos. And then it's, here's a picture of food. You've talked about that. And of course, we're big food picture people. But it's, that only serves a certain purpose. And I've always said that marketing should be, 80% informational or fun or whatever. And then, only 20% promotional. And what solidified in my mind was sort of it's kind of like the Girl Scout cookie approach, right? To marketing, right? Marketing is a conversation that is ongoing, right? So, there's, ups and downs and ebbs and flows to a conversation with somebody that or even somebody that you don't know. But you have to maintain a certain rapport before you can just go ahead and jump in and ask them for something. And I think that's just lost on so many people, that it is more about friendship first and a sale later, where you've built trust in somebody, you've had this conversation with them, you've developed this relationship, you've provided them with things, and they're like, hey, you know what? We have this promotion and it's obvious that we are trying to get people in because it's Tuesday's a slow day. And that's why we're doing Taco Tuesday and we're having a great deal, come on in. And it's already established a good relationship. And yeah. And then, so you can ask your friends to buy Girl Scout cookies for your kid because you've put the work in ahead of time. And that's kind of the approach and the philosophy that I'm trying to, to figure out how to convey to more people and get that messaging out there and say, this is the way you should be doing it. And if you need help doing that, we're available to help you do that.
It's fascinating. I just did a podcast for a funeral podcast, and I didn't agree with the guy. So this was a Christian person, and so he attributed a lot of his behavior to being a puppet for God instead of to his own decisions about his own life, and that's neither here nor there. But he said what he said was that the relationship is like, he had trouble couching it, but almost it's like a side benefit of making yourself useful and available.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, my goal isn't to establish relationships. My goal is to be useful and available, and the relationships come. And then once you're useful and available, and then you have a relationship, it's not too much to, like, you're the person that people think of for that reason. Like you said, it's not gross. Like, I just got another Facebook message. So Agrulia Pizza in Dover, Agrulia? I don't know.
Yeah.
There is a pizza joint in, I don't know, it's someplace north of here, Wilmington or Dover or Kent County, Delaware, someplace, and I don't know. And it's called like a Grillo or something like that. I haven't really even paid attention, but they were on my short list of places to visit when I was doing the beer book, because they were making their own beer at their pizza place. This was like 100 years ago. And so I followed them on Facebook, and every day they tag me in their lunch specials. And every time they tag me in their lunch specials, I always go on and I comment, hey, and you know what goes great with pizza? This story about how much Del Mar sucks, or this story about, like, so I just try to like piggyback on their on their promotion, that so if anybody goes to see it, they'll see my comment, which is like, hey, look at me, I did this thing. And that's, oh, they're not my friends. And the only thing I know about a Grillo Pizza is I'm probably never going to go there.
Right.
They've traded my patronage for the ability to tell, because that's the thing, right? It's not a Grillo Pizza. I also know that it's not pronounced a Grillo, so I don't feel so bad about making fun of them. You could figure it out if you tried real hard, I'm sure. Or I could figure it out if I tried real hard, but I'm not going to.
Not putting the effort.
you know, they have their cousin, they have their college graduate friend, they have somebody who knows about social media. "Oh, yeah, Ellen's, uh, granddaughter, she's really good at the TikToks and all those things." And so they're giving this
Mhm.
kid whatever, $200 a week, and this kid is just spamming the fuck out of everybody, and I'm
Yeah.
sure nobody at Grilio's Pizza knows it, you know?
Yeah.
And what that really is
That they're
a testament.
they are yeah,
Yes,
they're disenfranchising people.
at best.
Yeah.
They're like, "I don't understand. We post our lunch specials every day, and we're empty at lunch every day. I don't know why." And it's because people don't think of you for lunch. People think of you for
Mm.
something that they have to delete before they go to lunch. Like, "Oh,
Yes.
that's right. I got the Agrilio's pizza message. That means I have to delete their message, and then I can go to lunch elsewhere." You know?
Somewhere else.
Somewhere else. You remind them that they're hungry and that you're fucking annoying. Like, that is what that does every day. But there is, and this kind of ties in with what I wanted to talk about. There is this also deadening effect where not only, like, I'm still the only person on the whole planet, or one of a dwindling number of people that gets outraged by commercials. My poor wife will be watching a thing and a commercial will come on. And I'm like, "What the fuck is that supposed to be doing?" And she's like, "Why
Yeah.
do you care?" And I'm like, "Because they're making it bad." And when you train people not to pay attention, someone like me who wants people to pay attention to
Mhm.
good things has that much more difficulty in doing it. And so
Yeah.
for my personal job, I make videos, and it's funny, today I'm wearing my robe, which I don't know if I've ever worn my robe on the show before, but I didn't remember I was wearing it until we started recording it, and I'm only wearing a t-shirt under it, and the t-shirt's worse than the robe. If you're watching,
Yeah.
or if you care to watch, it looks good. It looks
It
better on camera
it doesn't
than it.
it doesn't look like a robe. It
No.
may as well be a smoking jacket,
Yeah, it's like
like
a sharp blazer looking thing. It's not nearly as nice as it appears on the video, if you wanna just go check
well, that's
that out.
yeah.
But earlier this week, I do a video every week for, Funeral Service Insider. It's a weekly funeral newsletter, and as I was telling Todd before we got started, it breaks my heart that it's not more popular, or at least that I don't get more recognition for it, because I'm literally the only one. I'm like the Rachel Maddow of funeral service,
Yeah.
and no one cares, and that bothers me.
Yeah.
Because I do a weekly news report on the funeral industry. Only one.
Yep.
But of course, no one cares because it's boring. I mean, don't get me wrong, but there's a competitor, the gentleman that used to have my job, started his own blog now, and he made his first forays into video this week, and it was embarrassingly bad. It wasn't just normal bad. It wasn't just like, "Oh, I don't have a microphone, so I sound like I'm shouting in a closet." I mean, but that's the thing, like, people are used to, they don't care. They don't care if you sound like you're shouting into a closet, although that's why, for our listeners, how much we love you, we process this. This is why we sound better than most of the podcasts you listen to, and most of the videos you see as well. Anyway,
Hmm.
so, um and he was all red, like, he had a red filter on. And I don't
Yeah.
know if he didn't notice or if he didn't care, but it was frustrating because if you see this video, I look nice-ish except for the robe. I got lights. I try to get this. It takes me time to kind of set up my studio, and to see someone who just goes on and interviews the same people and looks like a fucking hobo who forgot to turn on his computer lights. It's
Yeah.
offensive. It's also offensive that it's a gentle reminder that the people who go on his show will go on any show. There's nothing special about talking to me with my high production and my good questions. You can,
Right.
like, "Hi, tell me why your business is so great," while you look at me and my dumb red face. And
Yeah.
the question is, why are you trying? And the answer, why I am trying, is because I can't not. It's
Yeah.
it's a self-respect thing.
Well, and I feel like it's a spectrum too, because we talked about it before. It's like, at what point does it become pretentious to have,
Right.
you know, a studio? Like, I've set it up before with, one of my fancy lights, and I got the purple glow behind me, and that's definitely a look and something to cultivate, and kind of matches a lot of what the people on YouTube are doing. But it's also not necessary. So I don't know. Maybe if I was consistent about it, like, it would be a whole different story. But there's a sweet spot where I always talk about how authenticity is key to everything. And and then there, like, at the end of the spectrum that you're talking about, it's kind of like, it's not even authentic. It's just that I don't care,
Yeah,
right?
it's like
I don't
there's a
give
difference
I don't give a
between,
shit.
like, trying to be real and, found footage. Like, this is my found
Yeah,
footage movie about, about and it's also about respect for the audience, and that's one of the things that I mean, lots of business to business, much business to business, suffers from, which is
mhm,
this idea that, you know, the advertisers when your advertisers are also 40% of your readers, it's hard to be good. It's hard to not be an ass kisser all the time. And
right.
I say that only because I'm excellent at never ever being an ass kisser. As a matter of fact, I get in trouble for not being enough of an ass kisser, but I get in the right kind of trouble. I get
Right.
in the kind of trouble that's like I treat my readers I'm so grateful for anyone who is still literally reading. I mean, I wrote in a recent editorial. Uh, that sentence the word the sentence that I wrote was the last sentence represented the 1400th word in this article, which means if you've gotten this far, you are an
Yeah,
extraordinary person.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it really is. You're like 1,500 words. That is a
yeah,
lot for a modern not writer to read. And that has been kind of my thing is, just authenticity isn't looking sloppy because you don't care. Authenticity is not putting on airs. Like I just want to make it as pleasant for the viewers and listeners and readers as I can without talking down to them or without talking up to them. So I don't
right.
want to be like, "Oh, you're so wonderful and I need to make this perfect for you." And I also don't want to be like, "Hey man, we're all just here hanging out. It doesn't matter who's doing the talking. It's just me." Because I want to get paid. You know,
Yeah,
I want you
yeah,
to pay me your money to talk to me. And that means that
yeah,
I have to try harder than you do, a lot harder.
yeah. Well, it's also not being the arrogant, I'm the authority on everything,
Right.
uh, and yeah, we're a great example of this. I say it all the time. We're consistent and we're good, and we hate telling people that we're consistent and good, because that probably somewhere in the back of our heads, and mine at least, makes that authenticity a bit more yucky, you
And
know?
and this is the wrong time to say it, but I'm gonna anyway. Welcome to all of our we have a bunch of new subscribers. We had
Oh,
a little
really?
flurry of subscribers this week. So welcome to our new subscribers and listeners. Thank you very much. And we're I mean, if you send us something, we'll lose our minds. So please feel free to shoot us a little
Yes.
note,
Very.
something you want to see, something you don't want to see. Um, I did want to talk about I wanted to talk about I don't know if you want to talk about your new gig and my idea for your new gig that I didn't tell you, or if
I
you want to talk about food racism.
I do wanna talk about my new gig.
All right, let's start there,
And
and if we have time, I'll get to food racism.
it's like, we'll make it quick so we can talk about food racism.
No, no, no.
Yeah, no,
I'm gonna remember this forever. Don't worry. The food
oh, good.
racism thing is something I've been working on. Um,
Yeah,
so you've got a new gig. Yeah.
yeah, I got a new gig, and in full disclosure and talking about authenticity, and, mentioning that been restaurant industry adjacent for so long, I have taken a position as a a manager, a floor manager at our local place, 410, and I've done it for several reasons. One, I absolutely love the place. There's a joke. There was
And
a
you're on
meme.
record for that.
Oh yeah, but multiple and until last week, they didn't pay me, you know,
Right.
but we we advertised, or we shared and, supported for a long time since they've been open post COVID, coming into their 3rd summer. Um, there's a joke like essentially I regulared myself into a position. And, these 2 guys, 2 young families, Marcos and Brandon, who, opened this. They're Fager's guys. They were there for a number of years, a little bit more back of the house, bar back and bartender type. And,
And just
they
just
just
because we have out of the region listeners, Fager's Island. It is a very popular restaurant.
Yes.
It's not a nationality or anything.
Yes. They are Fager's guys from the Fager Island.
Fager Islands, exactly what it sounded like. We are from the Fager's Islands.
Just south of it's a great neighborhood bar. We spend a lot of time on the road. Love being on Delmarva, but it's a little stretched out. Unless you're in Berlin, which is a small town where we live, right close to the Main Street area, you're driving. We're driving to Bethany Beach, Delaware, to Dewey Beach, Delaware, Ocean City, Maryland, all of those spots to visit clients and do work and carry on. Selbyville, where the Freeman stage is, and whenever we come home, that is just the first place we go. 410 is 410 Social, 410 being the area code of the old 10-digit phone numbers when people had to actually remember phone numbers.
I'm sorry, I have to interrupt you with what a jerk I am. So I worked in Delaware for a while, and Delaware just has one still because it's so small. It just has one area code. But you still have to dial all 10 digits. So when people would tell me their phone numbers, they'd be like, my phone number is 846-2223. And I would say, that's not enough numbers. And they'd be like, 302. And I made them do it every fucking time. And just because of a dick. And I'm sorry about that, but not really. That seems like it's not enough numbers. What are the 3 numbers that could possibly be missing?
Right.
Give me all 10.
Give them all to me. But I think it will be a fun experiment. And you mentioned something at the top of before we jumped on that I would love to do, and I kind of want to hear more about your idea. But it will be interesting. It will be a challenge of being embedded, being alongside somebody. I mentioned, I work with Natalie, my wife, and we have some great partners everywhere. But we don't really, we haven't had the opportunity to really work shoulder to shoulder with somebody for an extended period of time. And, that's how you build great relationships and that sort of thing. And you build a team. And from what we've seen as patrons of this place, food is great. Atmosphere is great. The staff, all of those things are all things that I want to be a part of. And now, close to 15 years in, to our business, I'm like, this would be a great opportunity to jump on that side of things and see where the difficulty in promoting a business like that, where those difficulties are, or where blind spots are, and try to help improve on that, and maybe make me a better marketer for other places by doing this, and and sharing that load with what other managers or bartenders or servers are going through.
And so here's my idea. I complained to Todd. I'm sorry. First, before this started, I gave Todd an idea. And then I told him how much I love it when people come up to me and say, oh, you're a writer? You should write about this. Yeah. As if I don't have like stacks and stacks of story ideas that I'll probably never get to before I die. But so I suggested that Todd could do maybe like a blog of something like a behind the scenes, like, oh, so this is what it is. But then as we were talking, I remembered 2 things. one, it's been 1,000 years since I did my best sentence so far today. And I'm going to
Oh,
try to
yeah.
get back to that because I've been so busy writing. I've got some personal stuff going on. I don't know if I told Todd this or not. My daughter's coming home from Washington, so I have to go out to Washington and get her and bring her back.
Yeah.
So I've been front loading the magazine that I work for the next 3 weeks. So that way I can be gone and no one will notice. So I haven't been doing my best sentence I've written today so far, but YouTube Shorts, Todd, is what you need. When you
Okay.
sign into the Good Clean Fun Life YouTube account and you
Mhm.
just do the 15-second shorts.
Yeah.
Like, every time you make a new connection from front of the house to back of the house to front of the house, you'll be like,
Yes.
"All right, here's why it takes 12 minutes for you to get your surf and turf."
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Here's why people complain for no good reason. Here's a good reason people complain that you could keep them from complaining. Just like pow, pow, pow. You do the
Mhm.
YouTube Shorts, and that could be a thing.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you could always download the YouTube Shorts, upload them to Gemini, and then have Gemini write the book of Todd learning how to be
Yeah.
a restaurant manager as a restaurant promoter. So
Yeah.
that's my
Yeah.
official suggestion to you.
You know, it's funny because I kinda had the idea that wasn't too far off from that, and, I have these great microphones that have little backup, the Rode wireless mic,
Mm.
and I feel like I should just have one of those. Like, it almost would be easier than, like, doing a voice memo on your phone or something like that, but just something that's, like, kinda that's close to touch and be able to take notes as an evening's going, because the obvious thing, right, is that you get too busy. I'm
Yes.
always like, why can't person X, Y, or Z, whatever their position is, take 5 minutes during a 6-hour shift, an 8-hour shift, and do a little something that's going to help the business. It's like, well, because you're fucking busy, whether
Yeah.
you're picking up a piece of gum off the floor, or you're trying to remember if the pretzels get honey mustard or ranch dressing. It's like,
Well,
so
the
yeah, I
the
think,
other thing that I discovered when I was covering, when I would go to cover restaurants is, yes, they can take 5 minutes, but they don't know when that 5 minutes is going to be. Like, yes, they
right.
have 5 dead minutes every hour, but if you show up at
Yeah.
2 and their first 5 dead minutes isn't until 2:50, then you're just gonna stand there with your thumb up your ass for 50 minutes because they have other stuff to do. Running the business comes first. And a goofball
Yes.
like me, I'm like, I'm just here to play, whatever." So it's,
Yes.
that's always a challenge, cutting out, and you can make educated guesses, like, all right, well, 2 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 2 o'clock. You want to get a restaurant owner, 2 o'clock to 2:15 is
Yeah.
probably your best, except they're going to be eating and they're they're not going to want to talk to you.
Right, right,
But at least
and then the gas
the
man is
restaurant
gonna
will
be
be open.
showing
Yeah,
up.
it's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
crazy. That I was doing a story in Ocean City once on one of those inlet
Mhm.
places, and they literally had, like, a refrigerator, like, went out before I got there and got delivered while I was there. They're like, "Hey, yeah," and then, "Oh, here's a refrigerator. We have to go." And that was
Yeah,
the end of
yeah,
my conversation because they needed to put the refrigerator in, you know?
yeah. I'll tell a story real quick and also
Please.
promote, my Dewey Raw podcast, which is still up in the air whether I'm gonna continue or not. But stories like this make me wanna continue it. It was a 4th of July weekend. It wasn't 4th of July, but, like, at the beach surrounding 4th of July is basically a 10-day holiday, right?
Right.
Both weekends are included. And I was talking with my good friend Toasty, who's the general manager at the Starboard. It was probably a Friday afternoon, so it was busy, regardless of when the holiday was falling.
Mm.
And a cooler, a beer cooler, went up, so it stopped working Friday before one of the weekends of the holiday. And so during the podcast, it was coordinated, happened, 5 of the barbacks and bouncer guys literally picked the cooler up out from behind the bar. There was a window, there was a service window behind the bar. They're serving out the front, picked it up, carried the beer cooler out of the window, hot swapped another one without any downtime to the front of the bar while producing a podcast and being on the podcast. Now he left for, 10 minutes to make sure that like things were as they should be. But still, it was you want to talk to a business owner, or you want to figure out why they're not focusing on developing relationships, like I said, as opposed to just promotion. It's because that story right there is like the best that he can do is look on his phone when he's sitting on the toilet and be like, "Oh, the social media girl promoted this. Let me just share it." That's the minimum. But yeah, it's a wild ride, and I think I'm going to take your advice as closely as I can. I think that's a habit that I really need to develop and would give me the result that I think that I'm looking for. Before we got on, I said I feel like I'm really overthinking this. Like my business is doing great, and I'm doing this to make my business better. This is why I'm doing it, and that would
continuing
be
education.
That would be the continuing education and sharing it, and because
yeah, and you could eventually do like an NFL Films.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So what is that called? They have the NFL Films has a television show now, right? Where they follow a team all season.
Oh, Hard Knocks. Yes.
Hard Knocks. Yeah. So like NFL Films Hard Knocks. Yes.
That's it. This is Restaurant Hard Knocks. I'm gonna spend a year with 410, and then I'm gonna go and manage another place.
Exactly.
And then I'm just gonna be an embedded reporter.
That's your show. Brilliant. Well, I am out of things to talk about anyway. How about you?
I got nothing.
All right. Well, remember, until next time at the beach,
it's happy hour whenever you say it is.